What is going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back here again with another episode of the Detox Podcast, episode 258 to be exact. And if you're new here and you enjoy podcasts, music, comedy, or hooping videos, do consider subscribing. It helps us out with sharing conversations and laughs like this with more people. Also, if you're new here, my name is Darren Rita. You can connect with me at any of the links down below. There's music down there, extra podcasts, other fun stuff. Check it out. Ton of that stuff. I'm going to speed through this today. But before we get into today's episode, I introduce you guys to my guest this week. Got to talk to you guys a little bit about vacation time, dude. Let's be honest. There's nothing better than a well-earned vacation. It feels good to just get away from everything for a little bit and enjoy yourself. So there's no better place than with today's sponsor, Alpine House 2. Alpine House 2 is a classic Swiss chalet duplex A-frame log cabin located directly across from the Ski Brûlée Resort in Iron River, Michigan, surrounded by forests, lakes, rivers. Iron River is more specifically the best place to hang out in the summertime, especially summertime right now in the UP. It's gorgeous up there, even if you're into like snowmobiling and stuff like that. As we get into later months of the year, going to be super fun to hang out there for Christmas time or just, hang out with the family on a random weekend. Currently, Alpine House 2 just finished up a bunch of renovations, and they just opened up their booking on Airbnb and other websites. From modern finishes to arcade video games, you're going to love this space. So why not check out Alpine House 2 in Iron River, Michigan for your next adventure or peaceful retreat. Alpine House 2 is looking for booking, like I just mentioned. They just started booking about 2 weeks ago. That's at ALPINEHAUS 2. That's the number 2 on Instagram to stay up to date on other renovations, bookings, and stuff like that. One last time, that's at Alpine House 2 on Instagram to stay up to date. Hit them up. Let them know that D Rita or Detox sent you, and they will set you up nicely, dude. It'll be a fun vacation. Now, with all that good stuff out of the way, we're doing stuff crazy today. We're doing stuff on the fly a little bit, but I'm pumped. I'm really excited to be sitting down with my guest this week. She's one of the funniest people in Milwaukee. All right, let's give a wet Detox welcome to Luise Noy.
Yeah.
Close enough? Close?
Oh, I love seeing the fear in the eyes of the host while they pronounce my name.
Yeah?
Usually I'm backstage when I just hear it happen in their voice.
You can hear it. You get to see me freak out.
I love making eye contact.
Yeah.
That was fine enough. That was fine. That
give,
was good.
Give it back to me. How would you say it?
Luise Noy.
Luise Noy. Okay. I feel like after I hear you say it, I feel like I get like 1% better. But it's just important to me. I like to try to say people's name correctly. I think it's a respect thing, so I like to let you know.
And people want to do that, and I fully respect that. I'm trying to, but they're like, that is a fun thing between like German and English. There are certain like vowel qualities you just simply don't have.
Oh yeah?
So it's like so hard to get there. Like your E's, like
yeah.
A, that is a sound you don't use in English ever.
Yeah.
You do an A or you do like the little schwas.
What other dumb stuff do we say?
You don't say dumb stuff. I like English. You don't say dumb stuff.
We don't.
You just can't make certain sounds the way that I can't make certain sounds. Like I will never.
What noises can't you make in...
It's a brutal irony of history that truly the worst sound for Germans to make when they try to speak English is the W. Like the worst word that I always fall over is sadly to say World War. Like I have to focus so hard, and the problem is when you're German, everyone wants to talk about that one thing with you.
Oh yeah.
That is the hardest to say. World War.
Yeah, we are back-to-back champs on that one. So
it.
you gotta give us.
We're back-to-back hardcore losers.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
W. So what can you say like I mentioned when I introduced you? I gave a whet. Can you do it like that? Maybe. Whet. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was good.
No, everything that's like back in the throat we're crushing. It's just everything that is at top of the mouth.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you give a different name at like Starbucks or anything? Are you one of those?
I'm just fine when they say Luisa. I'm just going
take it. Yeah.
Full Spanish, even though everyone looking at me knows that it's gotta be a lie.
Yeah, they're like, there's no fucking way, dude. No way at all. But you mentioned you're from Germany, and actually we were talking before we went live that you moved here about 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4.5 now. 5 in October.
Wow. And you started comedy like the same time. How soon did you start comedy after moving here?
Few months. Like I was definitely I immediately started going to open mics, but I was definitely one of those people who was like, I gotta make sure I have jokes when I go up there, and I need to know how this works.
Yeah.
So I sat around the open mics for like 2 months and just like every week watched every day of the week. Actually, we had like open mics. I was down in Texas at that point, and I just watched, wrote my little skits out, wrote my jokes out, and then one night in someone bombed so horribly that I was like, no way, I'm gonna be the worst person tonight. Tonight is the night. Like, I didn't sign up at the beginning of the mic.
Yeah.
I watched the beginning of the mic and then was like, okay, tonight's the night. You
Somebody
can't
was-
be the worst person
Yeah.
tonight. And it was also just the fact that everyone was so nice about it. Like, no one made fun of this person or was like cruel about it.
Yeah.
They bombed and everyone still tried to laugh and tried to like help them through their set.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, these people are nice. No way I'm the worst one. This is
is
the
my
night
moment.
for me. And that is when I went up for the first time.
Wow. So
Yeah.
someone was so bad that you were like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a
Nothing
shot.
to lose.
Wow,
Yeah.
I respect that. That's hilarious. Maybe that's I know my producer back here is looking to he's been eyeing it up for a long time. Maybe that's what we'll have to wait till someone really, really sucks one day and then Mike can go up. That's awesome, dude. That's really awesome. And you mentioned your first set's probably recorded somewhere. Your first set ever?
Yeah, I will not confirm that on
Yeah, yeah.
air. I don't need people to
Oh,
find it.
oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna say somewhere in the
Here's what we'll
deep
do.
archives of the internet there is my very first stand-up
When you
set.
when you
filmed.
get your first Netflix special, you'll come back on here and we'll react to it. How about that?
That is fair.
That'll
I
be
will
fun.
let happen.
That
If
will
you
do.
think at that point in history YouTube still exists, good
You
luck.
think it'll take that long? What would you do? What would you do if you got a? What would you title your Netflix special? If you had to title one now?
Oh, I think I thought about this already. Hard to understand.
Hard to understand. Okay.
Yeah, like playing with the accent, but also with what most other comics tell me when I start writing jokes, and they're like, you can't fucking use those words on stage, dude.
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, I have some jokes that are playing like with literature or with like certain concepts, and they're like, people don't like that. Why are you doing this, bro? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and they are right. Like, it's not like they are 100% right.
Oh, really?
Where
Okay.
I'm like, if someone would let me, I could probably like do a pretty hard set on, I don't know, Jean-Paul Sartre, but no one wants that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't
there's
know who
maybe
that
an
is.
audience at the Modern Language Association academic conference, but outside of that,
Maybe you could find like a niche audience of professors, and you could just perform for like 10
Yeah,
professors.
they are not
and-
funny.
yeah, I didn't think so.
they don't like,
No.
they don't come to places to laugh.
That's fair. Yeah. But that kind of, it's interesting you mentioned all that because that kind of ties into. So you came over to the U.S. for what reason specifically?
I
Or
came
primarily?
here to get my master's in literature, and right now I came to Milwaukee to get my PhD in literature.
So that's what I'm saying. You're smart as fuck. Maybe too smart for comedy sometimes.
If I was smart, wouldn't I be doing something that actually has a future perspective,
Yeah.
makes money? I'm just really good at reading letters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a very specific skill set, but one where the daughter in Taken would probably die.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. It's interesting you mentioned that because it's like I have my grandparents. They're immigrants from Poland, and they've got a friend whose son is a doctor, and I'm helping them at their condo. This is like last year, and they're having this trouble with this printer, and I'm like, what's up with this printer? And they're like, well, so and so, his son is a doctor, and then they start flexing on me how their friend's son is a doctor, and I'm not for like 20 minutes, right? And then after that, they're like, well, this is his printer. He just gave it to us because he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And do you know what I did? I unplugged it, plugged it back in. There was a hard reset button. I hard reset it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. So this guy who's infinitely smarter than me couldn't figure out how to do it. So that's kind of what you're saying. You're right. You're like,
yeah. If you
just
really
because you got the
wanna-
PhD or are going for it doesn't mean
No.
You're not
if
above-
you've ever seen me move a mattress out of a building,
No.
that is for all my friends their favorite event every year when I move, to just watch me try to fit square things through round holes,
Yeah.
round things through. Like, I have no spatial awareness
I was gonna say, yeah.
whatsoever. Like, I cannot build stuff. I can't do stuff practically, and especially like the question of how to get like a couch or a mattress through a door frame.
Can't figure it out?
Is a 7-hour task if I have to do
You
it
never read
alone.
that. Maybe you should write a paper about it. Maybe that would help you work through it. If you wrote like a dissertation.
No, I just don't. Like, even in school, like, I was good at math, and then I was like, oh, so I should do physics AP, right?
wow.
Like, we don't have AP in Germany. It's a different concept, but like, just as a translation, I should do this like physics class because we have to decide for one science,
Yeah.
biology, chemistry, or physics. And I was like, good at math, so I'm going to do physics. The moment you apply any of the math stuff that I wasn't even bad at to practical things, to real entities, I was out.
Wow.
I was an A student in math with I can't say fucking, with a fucking
Yeah, you can
F
say.
in like physics, because the moment where there was like, and now it's the real world, I was like, nope, my brain doesn't do that at all.
Wow. Interesting. You'd think like
It's-
word problems, as someone who's in literature, I feel like you would be, if you're good at math and that, you just, the word problems wasn't for you.
No.
Wow, dude. What did you like? What did you like growing up? So when you came to the US, like you came to the US to get your master's, I'm curious, like what was like that I guess culture shock? Like how was it? How was it showing up? Was it what you thought it would be? Was it what was different than what you thought before coming to the US? Cuz you were in Texas, you said first, right? We're in
Yes.
Texas.
I was around Austin and San Marcos, where Texas State is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really pretty, really sweet. And there wasn't that much culture shock because, like in Germany, my undergrad degree, like we talked about it earlier, like I did some economics, and I also did what is English in Germany. But of course, that is like when you guys study German, where it's mostly like learning grammar and then like history of the country, culture of the country. I had a lot of like cultural studies classes in American culture.
Wow.
Where I felt pretty prepared, where I was
What did
like,
they
I didn't
taught you?
I didn't have like huge, I mean, the sizes of drinks were certainly something, like the sizes of food, the sizes of drinks were something where I was like, oh, I thought that was just like a funny stereotype that Europeans have, but it
Yeah.
was like a real thing where I was like,
Especially in
okay.
Texas, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part. And the plastic bags drive me insane. Like the fact that every household has like a cupboard full of just plastic bags that you get at a grocery store.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that is something that.
Yeah, we just don't know what to do with them. That's a big
And
Midwestern
I don't know
thing
either.
too. Yeah.
I don't know either. I have it now too, and I moved into an apartment in Milwaukee that has its own little thing in the pantry where I just shove in the plastic bags. But now that little thing is full, and I have now underneath a hook with a plastic bag full of plastic bags. And I don't.
What do we do
That
with
is a
them?
ch-
I know.
I don't
The only
know.
thing I can think of is like we use them for like the bathroom garbage, right? That's like the only thing I can reuse it for.
But I don't use enough tampons to get rid of
That's what I'm
those.
saying. Like I'm
That is
changing
like
that once a week.
month problem. I don't.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Dog poop? Okay, maybe dog poop.
I don't have a dog.
I don't have a dog
I'm
either.
gonna drown one day in plastic bags.
Yeah.
Because they're also not recycling.
Yeah.
I also don't understand American recycling, and I bet like Americans don't
fake.
get German recycling either. All recycling is fake.
Yeah.
Germans, we separate like glass in its thing, and glass you can only throw away at designated areas in the city, and then you have a different place for paper,
Yeah.
and then you have a different place for plastic
And there's different kinds of plastics.
and different kinds of plastic. And I'm used to having 7 different bins in my house. And in the US, to get over this thing that I can throw away a glass bottle in the same place as paper was also such a brain switch. And
Yeah.
now my parents are so pissed because when I go home,
You
I
do it
throw
wrong.
everything. Like I've been here long enough that when I go home, I throw everything in the same bin.
Wow, you've
And-
assimilated.
In Germany, that's an issue. In Germany, people don't like that.
They don't fuck with that. Yeah, I believe it, dude. Well, it's wild too that I just found out like a couple of years ago, and it kind of like blew my world for a minute. Where it's like we don't even recycle most of the shit that we actually like. You think you're recycling? They're just like, no, we're not. Like they just end up putting it in the garbage anyways. Like there's somebody, they pay people to sort it, and they're like, yeah, actually 90% of what you thought you recycled, we're throwing away anyways. If you go to like a Subway or like a Culver's, this made me really sad one day. You know how they have like the garbage can that's like a wood top,
Yeah.
and right, and it's like recycling garbage, and you like throw something into the recycling thing and you did a good job. I watched the worker the other day open it up to change it. It's the same fucking bin. There's just 2 holes at the top. And I'm like, man, that hurt. Like they're really just
They
doing it so
trick
we
us.
feel better.
They do be tricking us.
We just feel better. Oh, I put it in the different hole. It still went into the same fucking can. And the same kid who's not getting paid enough is bringing it to the same
And
dumpster.
the thing is, I don't even care. The senselessness of it all drives me nuts. Where I'm like, I mean, I care about the planet, blah blah blah, blah right?
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't make my top 3 list of priorities.
Yeah.
It just drives me nuts exactly because of this, because it's so pointless, and yet I cannot throw away these plastic bags.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a lie, but emotionally I cannot just take this monster of plastic bags and just shove it down my recycling.
Yeah,
I
we got to
can't-
think of something. Maybe we could make like
enslaved in the mind, like prison of the mind. I can't do it.
what if you started making clothes out of it or something? Or we make sculptures or
Oh no.
We gotta find something for him.
Oh, there's nothing worse than upcycling art. Like
Oh,
this
yeah?
is like bullshit art projects where like, can you believe she took trash to make this? And I'm like, I can't believe it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks exactly like trash. And I don't even think a lot has happened here.
Yeah.
No,
That's fair.
that is my least favorite genre of art.
Yeah. Okay, so being from Germany, and then when you finally got to Milwaukee, did you feel like home a little bit? People say there's a big it's a big German influence here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, there are a lot of people ask me that.
Yeah?
And
Do you fuck with our pretzels and our sausages or what?
that is the thing. Like I always, when people ask me this, I always used to say, I even did it like on stage for a while because it became so prevalent where I'm like, if I liked Germans, don't you think I would have stayed where I was from? Like,
shit,
first
yeah.
of all, that part. And then also,
Okay.
Germany is big, and Germany has like you guys have 50 states, we have 16 states, and those states are culturally different. The way that like Wisconsin is different than Texas, is different than Alaska, is different than New York.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that is German here is specifically Bavarian, like maybe Austrian, which is a different country. A lot of Americans. Austria is not Germany. Those are two separate countries.
Yeah, we're bad at geography, dude. I couldn't name like 10 countries over in Europe, dude. I couldn't. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I could try, but it would be embarrassing.
Do it. I want to. Okay. I
Okay.
love.
Okay, let's
Fingers
try.
crossed. There's a city in there.
Oh, that you think I'll throw a city in there on accident? I'm sure
Yeah.
I will. Okay, the United Kingdom's its own thing, right? That's one country.
Mm-hmm.
That counts as one. Okay, we got Portugal,
Yes.
Spain.
Yes.
Is Italy Europe? That counts as Europe.
Yes.
Okay, Greece is different.
Greece is different than Italy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Two separate nations. Yeah.
5. Okay, I gotta name 10. I gotta get 5 more of these.
You get one for free. We've been just talking about it.
Germany, yeah, Germany.
And
we
another
get.
one for free.
What other one did I say? Well, okay, wait. Oh, and Austria. Okay, and then Sweden.
Yes.
Okay, and then let's see. No, don't give me hints. I've just
But we're already at 8. Two more.
2 more. I can do it.
You can do it.
Think of your heritage, bro.
Yeah.
Poland. Yeah, Poland. Okay, Poland. Fuck. So I got one more. Poland. Who else is over there? Who
I know
else
we
was getting?
mentioned one more already before like we started recording.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting them already. Is it Amsterdam is a city or a country? That's a city.
City. I got
That's
a
a city.
city
You
in
did
there.
get one. Okay. All right.
I knew this would happen.
I feel like there's one more I'm forgetting. I mean, there's more than the ones I'm forgetting, but wait. Oh, and Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yes.
10.
10,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
And only one city that I fucked up on. Cool.
But I knew that city would happen.
Yeah.
It's that one, is Amsterdam or Barcelona. I feel like those are the two cities
Yeah.
that most Americans think are countries.
I watch a little soccer, so I know that that's not the same. Yeah, so that's fair.
Oh, you watch. What's your team when you watch soccer?
I'm more so I have a friend who's really into the Mexican league, so I watch that mostly. So
Sweet.
Club America specifically, but that pretty much them. And then I owned. Well, I didn't buy it, but I had the FIFA demo for like 5 years. So that was just Barcelona and Real Madrid for the longest time because you could play as Messi or Ronaldo. So those are about it. Arsenal's cool. Manchester United. I just know the big names. That's about it.
Yeah.
Who are you a fan of?
So
You big soccer girly or no? 'Cause you-
I am, and I'm. My mom is making a lot of fun. Like she's making fun of me right now because I truly became a soccer girly here. Like it's like these people who go into the diaspora and then become super religious.
Yeah.
Like I just left where I'm from and came here and became suddenly completely obsessed.
And
with
now you
soccer.
care, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was home, everyone else cared. So it wasn't my job to care. Like I was like, cool, other people are taking care of this. This is great. And then I came here and I was like, you can't just all act like this is not relevant. This is the most relevant thing in the world. Like I was like, stop gaslighting me. This is the rest of the world cares.
Yeah, because we have our whole own thing over here. Like we
Yeah.
only care about our weird
I moved
shit.
in 2019 and then 2021 it was the Euro Cup, and I think that is what broke me, because in the first game of the Euro Cup in 2021, one of the first games, a dude on the Danish national team, Christian Eriksen, had a heart attack on the field,
Holy shit.
died, got reanimated, brought to the hospital, called his team from the hospital to finish the game. So it was Denmark versus Finland. And then Denmark lost. And I was like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
And then I went to an open mic because also time difference. So I had to watch it all in the morning, and then I would leave my house and go to an open mic. And they were like just a bunch of comics discussing that they finally figured out how the hallway in Seinfeld works.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I watched a man die today. What are you? I watched the whole world watched a man die, and you're talking about Seinfeld. What happened?
Yeah, dude.
And that is when it truly flipped for me, where it became like very like
You had to start
the
caring.
defender of soccer and would watch soccer and would get into it.
Yeah.
And my team, my Bundesliga team, is at this point Dortmund. Like I have a hometown team.
Okay. Which
that-
is?
MSV Duisburg.
Sure.
Grew up going to the stadium. Like my dad is a huge fan. My brother is a huge fan. Would always go to the stadium. Now when I go home, I make a whole point of going as many times as I can. They, though, finally managed to stop playing professional soccer this season. They got, like soccer
Because
has
there's
the
levels.
relegation.
Yes. Yeah.
We just left the third league, which is kind of embarrassing.
So you guys have been sucking for a little while then.
Yeah, we used to be a founding member of the Bundesliga, like one of those true traditional German teams, and we played Bundesliga, I think, for the last time 2011, and
Wow.
like went down and down and down. So my allegiance now is with Dortmund. Simply like it's the same region.
Yeah.
I grew up in a place called the Ruhr Valley.
Yeah.
And that sounds rural, but it's the third biggest metropolitan area in Europe. It's like Paris, London, and then the Ruhr Valley. It's
Wow.
highly super densely populated, and it's just 15 cities right next to each other.
Really?
Not a lot of rural stuff in between. And so Dortmund is the northeastern end of that area, and I grew up in the southwestern end of that area.
Okay.
And so like out of that kind of allegiance, we're like, oh, it's a Ruhr Valley club. I'm going to root for the Ruhr Valley club.
Yeah. So I'm curious then too. You mentioned that a lot of the culture here that we derive or that we think is like German culture because we're here in Milwaukee is like Bavarian style stuff.
Yes.
What this area that you're describing? What's the food that I would be getting if I went to like a regular
Currywurst
pub?
pommes.
What is it?
Okay, it's like sausage, of course, but it's like a sausage, and then you put a curry ketchup kind of sauce on it and some yellow curry powder,
Okay.
and cut it up. That is currywurst.
Does it smack? Is it good?
It is so good.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It is really, really good. I love it. And then you just get some fries with it, with like mayo on it and ketchup on it and raw onions
On the fries.
on the fries.
So it's like a poutine almost. But
almost
not
like a poutine, but we don't put like other sauces in it. It's just
Yeah.
ketchup, mayo, raw onions, and then currywurst, the curry sausage.
Wow. Okay, I'm curious this too. How do you tell? So, I know a lot of times, just growing up with around an immigrant family myself, like when you're out in public, right, or you're like, especially like tourist things. I've worked in a lot of tourist places. I've also visited places with my immigrant family.
Yeah.
How could you spot German immigrants that are like enjoying a U.S. something in the U.S. Like if you were at like, I don't know, the Art Institute, or you're at like, I don't know, an apple orchard or something like that. How could you tell that they were German? From
I would
just
probably first say I don't think they would be there.
Mm.
Like,
what do they do? Are they touristy? Are Germans touristy?
no, they are. And there's this stereotype of like, I think the biggest stereotype is the sandals with the white socks for sure.
Ooh.
Multifunctional clothing. If I see a Jack Wolfskin anorak,
Yeah.
like a Jack Wolfskin jacket with a practical cargo shorts, preferably zippable at the knee, and
Oh,
some
yeah.
multifunctional water-resistant sandals with some good sports socks. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a German. That's a German man. That's a German woman. There's
Yeah.
there's no gender difference in the clothing.
Really?
That is how you can tell. No one was saying they would probably not be there. I had a show at the Best Place, like the Pabst beer brewing company. They have
Yeah.
this like little bar, the Best Place. I had a show there, and it was so weird, and the audience was so weirdly tight. And like when I started my set, I was like, "What's going on? Are you all German?"
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you can chill, you can have fun. It's just me.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, 2 tables came up to me and were like, yeah, no, we're all Germans. We're exchange students from this area.
Wow,
like,
shit.
oh, God, I knew this. I knew something wasn't right
Why are you so bitter about that? Are Germans don't like comedy? Is that?
I don't think that they don't like it. I think, like, when it comes to specifically stand-up, they are not used to it. It is a specific ritual. And there are a lot of Americans who also are not good in comedy rooms. They are more used to it. It's more popular, more...
Yeah.
But this idea of like, no, you're supposed to laugh and you're supposed to laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like even Americans I see at shows who are like holding their hands in front of their mouth where I'm like, you paid for this. Laughing is the point. I don't know why you're trying to hold it.
Yeah, your cheeks should hurt when you leave. You know?
But Germans specifically, they think that laughing is like giving up something in a sense. That is an idea that I'm getting. I mean, I'm not sure that it's
You're
just
reading
the
into
impression that I am having where they are like,
I can't let you
I
have
don't
this
want to
over
laugh
me.
too early. Yeah, I don't want to laugh too early. I want to laugh for the one best joke, and I need to know, like, they don't want to give it up. They feel like
They don't want to validate you. They can't let you have that over them.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
there's something to that. And then also just the idea of, like, being allowed to be, like, laughing in public. There is something rowdy about it for sure, right? And so, like, I think also that rowdiness is just something that more Germans are not that comfortable with.
Yeah.
And we're getting there, and stand-up is getting bigger in Germany, and I think audience are growing to understand it, but we just don't have a stand-up tradition the way that the US has it. We have our Mardi Gras tradition, and in that context of Mardi Gras, people definitely laugh out loud and like do comedy.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. It's a specific season. It's a specific holiday where you do that, which indicates on other days you don't.
Yeah. What is it specifically? I don't even know what Mardi Gras is for you guys.
I mean, it's similar to New Orleans and similar to Brazil. It's a carnival.
Okay.
But we do more costumes than people in New Orleans, and like different kind of, like we do clown costumes, princess costumes, king costumes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we have parades, not in the way that Brazil has, because it's also for us in February when it's too cold for that stuff usually.
Yeah.
No, but it's like big parade wagons that are going through the streets, and you're throwing out sweets from those wagons, and the kids collect the sweets. If you're really into like Mardi Gras, then it's like a whole season that starts on November 11th and then ends on, oh God, kill me, Ash Wednesday. I'm also trying to
that long, so it goes all the way into like the new year.
Yeah, from November till February, and like
Wow.
Cologne and Düsseldorf, and I grew up very close to Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf is my neighbor city.
Yeah. They got the
are
mustard,
huge
right?
in it. Löwensenf, yes,
Yeah.
really good mustard.
Yeah.
No, they are huge in it. They love it, and there you have truly like for like, what is it, 3, 4, 5 months? You have the whole party, the whole shebang.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
Did you go hard? Do you go hard for Mardi Gras?
I don't go the full season, and sadly I haven't been back for Mardi Gras since I moved.
Oh wow.
Because it's always in the semester.
Yeah.
But my family definitely celebrates. I always I would go, I have a costume, and I go to the Monday and the Sunday and the Monday parades.
Nice.
And then afterwards you go in a bar and get hammered, and who doesn't like that?
Yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds like a good time.
It's a fun thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, we don't need any more of that over here, I don't think. We have enough of it. We find our way. But that, I mean, it's good that you guys have something, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like probably every other Thirsty Thursday in Milwaukee. They're probably doing something similar, minus the costumes, actually. But I'm curious because you've been going to school now in the U.S. for a while, and you're going to get you got your master's, and now you're going to get your PhD.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, like, going to get your PhD, you've been in school longer than probably most of your friends, family, like peers and whatnot.
Yeah, it's starting to hurt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is that like? You know, like what is it like to like when I was in college, I had a lot of friends from a small town in Wisconsin, and I had a lot of friends that like even when I was in college, I started feeling like a disconnect with some of my friends that like just went straight into working a job that they hated. At least I was giving myself 4 years to do that. You know, I'm putting that off a little bit. What is it for you now that you've been on this journey for what?
It is weird sometimes, and it feels like this extension of a phase you are otherwise over. Where like I don't feel like I'm 21, absolutely, like the way that I handle my life, the way that I view my life, and yet when it's final season, I have the same problem as 21 years old, and sometimes that hits you, and you're like, I can't have the same problem as all the Escher and Tanners. That can't be the situation right now. It can be frustrating. However, you also get to the point when you do your master's, and especially when you do your PhD, I don't have classes anymore. Like, being a dissertator in your PhD means you just write your dissertation and that's all you do. So you start handling yourself like you have a job, the way that your friends have a job, where you're like, I don't have a 9 to 5, but I treat my life like it, where like I'm just gonna be at the coffee shop at 9 and write and like make sure that I work until 5. And it's a lot about self-discipline to like realize that life that other people have through their like regular day job.
Yeah, because you have to do it yourself.
You need to get there. You need to, but it still feels weird sometimes. It also feels good sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, the only night you work a lot when you get a PhD, but you get to choose when you work. So sometimes
it's gonna be
as
freeing
much
a little
as you
bit.
like treat it as a 9 to 5. At least when my friends are hungover and need to take PTO, I don't have to call anyone and like convince them that I'm sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I can just be hungover and be like, I don't have to call anyone. I'm just like, this day is done.
Yeah.
And instead, I'm gonna work this Saturday. And
yeah,
like having that freedom and flexibility is nice.
Yeah.
I love what I do. You will never in your adult life get the chance to nerd out as hard as you nerd out when you get a PhD. I will never get the chance to ever think that hard about one trivial thing ever again in my life. So having that freedom is cool, and that stuff is fun. But yeah, you realize, oh, I'm gonna be 30 and I don't have a 401k. Cool.
Yeah. What do you? Okay, so I'm sure you probably know other people that are going to get their PhDs or people that have PhDs.
Yeah.
Are there any common through lines, you think, in people that seek out a PhD or that are already have them? Like, what are some things that maybe that you see in people that are drawn to pursuing that?
I mean, they're definitely different types, and I can only speak on getting a literature PhD. The process in science is very different, even how you get it and how you go about it.
Because in that you have to like if I was in I have a friend, actually, she's been on this podcast a million times, who's going in, she's going to be mad at me. I don't know exactly what she's doing, some biochemical science, right? And so she has to like essentially like bring a new piece of evidence into the world. Like she has to do these studies and do these labs and bring a new thing in to get her PhD. So for you, you have to do a dissertation.
Yes.
What is that? Give me the bullet point. What is a dissertation for a PhD?
Those can look very different depending on what you do, but it's largely, you write a college paper, right? It's that, but like blown up 100 times. You cover more literature, you go into more detail, you are more specific, you find your own question in your field.
Yeah.
And you offer, and that is like the humanities, liberal arts part of it, you offer a solution, because there is no certain or finite solution to this problem. But you identify a problem. Maybe you even identify a problem that people didn't know before was a problem.
Yeah.
And then you offer an answer, a solution, and thereby contribute to your field to be like, hey, this is something we could think about.
Yeah. So that takes a long time. I mean, you're writing 8 hours a day, dude.
Yes.
Writing and or researching.
I'm also not gonna lie. I'm not writing 8 hours a day right now. There will be phases.
There will be days where you are.
There are the days, and then there are the other days.
Okay.
I just started. I just passed my dissertation proposal. Like, you have to present to your department what you're doing.
Yeah.
They don't trust you just blindly and be like, I'm sure in 5 years she's gonna hand in something perfectly. You gotta.
Yeah.
The problem
There's
that you
check-ins.
identify and the way that you're trying to like offer the solution, you gotta get pre-approved. And I just did this, so I'm starting to write now. I'm right now in the process of making my writing schedule, trying to find time, and making plans how to go about it.
Did they rock with you? Were they fucking with it? Were they like, yeah, keep going?
They like it.
They like it? Yeah. Were you nervous? How nervous were you before presenting it?
The good thing is I didn't have to present it myself. Your advisor, you send in the proposal, everyone reads it, and then you basically have your advisor in there, your PhD advisor, to defend you and to speak on your behalf. You're not in the room with the people. I had to sit outside, and usually you don't even sit outside. I just had to sit outside because it's part of a larger meeting that I was part of.
Yeah. Wow, that's intense still, though.
Yeah, but it made me more. If I had to present this, I would have cried before, I would have cried after, I would have called my mom 17 times in the process.
Yeah.
But since I just had to write it, send it out, and then got to forget about it until I hear back, that was a 6 out of 10 nervousness.
Okay, so still a little bit there, but
and
that's good.
You get feedback, like you work with your advisor.
Yeah,
so
and they probably want you. They want you to succeed.
Yes.
They want you to have the PhD,
you
right?
Think they wouldn't let me submit this if this was dog shit.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool, dude. That's really cool. I mean, I feel like it takes a special kind of person to want to get a PhD in anything, dude.
Yes.
Like,
Oh yeah, that was the original.
did you
question.
did you
Different
want
people.
did you want to like always, was that always the plan to get a PhD, or was like
No.
at what point did the PhD bug bite you, dude? Because I've got friends that like, I mean I have a couple friends that are going to get PhDs, and like it starts off with like, one of them was like, oh, I just don't know what I want to do yet. I think I'm just gonna get my master's, and then they're getting their master's, and then they get the master's, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I'm just gonna get a PhD in this. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, actually, I'm really passionate about. And then they found it through the master's typically. But how was it for you? Was it like?
I think it was in the back of my mind when, like, second or third semester undergrad. Like we talked about, I started in economics, and I hated economics so much, and it didn't work for my brain.
Yeah.
Like I thought I wanted to do that. Like I was one of those kids. Like for the last 3 years of school, I was like, no, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do economics.
Why? Why
is my thing.
economics?
Now we're getting into the Karl Marx stuff.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
read
know,
the
I found-
manifesto and you were convinced?
Oh, we love the manifesto, but
Yeah.
for that case, you would read the Capital.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah, I read about Marxism, and like I always liked history,
Yeah.
and I was good at math.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people told me that like studying history is not like reading about history, right? It's different because you mostly do like source theory and that kind of like more theoretical stuff that I wasn't into. And so like through that like history and Marxism stuff and then being good at math, I was like, oh, economics, obviously.
Yeah.
And I thought I would write papers about economics. I
Yeah.
didn't know I would only be doing math for 4 years straight
Yeah.
and never really talk about different theories, but always just work through models that, and now we're getting deep cut, that are like the neoclassical model. I didn't think that I would just like repeatedly go through capitalism models. And economics becomes so much more interesting when you go into graduate school, because I have friends from that time and like friends who I went with there who stayed in it and now getting like their PhD, getting their masters, who do amazing stuff that I'm like, oh, I wish and I don't wish it now, but I was like,
But it would have been
I
fun to
wish
try
my
that stuff.
brain was that way, that I could have worked it up there,
Yeah.
because they do really cool stuff, but it's just, as an undergrad, it was not what I wanted, and it didn't make my brain tingle. Like I like to describe it like that.
Yeah.
That like there's stuff that you think about that makes your brain tingle and feel good, even though you're doing hard thinking.
Yeah.
And I was always a reader, and I was reading at that time, and I realized, whoa, everything you really like the past 3 years of reading are written, all these things are written by American authors.
Yeah.
So I said, when I start something, I finish it. So I was like, I'm going to finish this economics degree, and we're going to make it through, but I'm going to go somewhere where I can do also English and do it both at the same time. And I was like, maybe the economic stuff becomes easier when I have some outlet for my brain.
Yeah.
And then basically the first semester, I like realized that, oh, this English stuff is my jam. And I was
Yeah?
like surprising.
Wow. What about it? What about it drew you in so fast?
I don't know. I think it was silly that I didn't realize it earlier. I was a good student, but I was a student who was hated by their teachers.
Oh, why were you hated?
Oh.
Why are you hated? Why are you a hateable student?
Piece of shit.
What were you like? Talk back to teachers,
all
or
the time. I would talk back. I
Why?
would interrupt in class. I would like class clown. That is the whole comedy stuff
Yeah.
for sure. Then also Catholic girls' school. I found that Marxism stuff very early, and
Wow.
then at that point immediately fought with everyone in like history class, in English class, in German class.
So you just fight with? Would you just fight to fight, or did you have typically like or at least you thought maybe a good reason to fight with a teacher?
I thought I had a good reason. I
Yeah.
would say also, I think there's some class element to it, or not class element. It's just like, I'm not a good Christian, never was. I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah.
My mom is an atheist. I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
And they smell that when you come in there as a kid.
Hmm.
And then the first 2 years you're like, or first 3 years you're like, because Germans go to the same school for 8 years. It's not here where you like have middle school and then you switch and go to high school.
Yeah.
We're in that same context after we go from elementary school to the next one, and that is 8 years.
Yeah.
And it starts and you're like, why don't you like me? I'm just a sweet little girl.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, you don't like me. Guess what? I don't like you either.
Yeah.
And then you go
And
full
you just deal with it
throttle.
for 7 more years.
Yeah, like I also like dyeing the hair, like full punk rock,
Yeah.
Marxist, fighting with the Catholics,
Yeah.
teenage
Chain
female
smoking?
rage.
A little
15
bit.
Yeah, at 15, yeah. We started early. We went on a journey. We liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fun hobby. Recommend. Everyone
Yeah.
recommend.
Everyone.
Everyone should smoke all the time. Start young.
Yeah.
That way you get the most out of it.
Yeah, a pack a day keeps. I don't know who that would keep away. Probably
Yeah, keeps the depression
Teachers?
at bay.
keeps the depression at bay. A pack a day keeps the depression at bay. There we go.
No. Yeah, but they didn't like me. And so, like, in school, I was, like, in English class. Marlboro, please sponsor me.
Come on, bro. Yeah, let's go,
Please.
dude. Come on. We got to bring back the candied cigarettes. That's what we need to do.
Have they taken those away?
They still have them?
I
haven't seen them in a
don't
long
know.
time.
I'm on the real
We were
stuff.
supposed to
I
be-
don't go into shops and
Yeah,
look for
well,
those.
we were supposed to be the generation to quit smoking, and then the vapes came along and they got us, and they reeled everybody. Now, all my friends, so when I was growing up in high school, all my friends were hitting Juul pods and other nicotine devices, and now they've all graduated to cigs, so it's all come back around.
No, you can't. I mean, this is highly non-scientific, and I have no clue. And I feel like I've
Let's get into
explained
it.
multiple times that I'm not a practical thinker.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that vapes are like more healthy or less deadly than cigarette. That's bullshit. That's like the difference between like weed and synthetic drugs. Like at least like mine is a plant.
Yeah.
Like this gotta be Molly versus shrooms, where like sure. But the chemical stuff, you can't trust it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, the thing I think with the vapes is there's less immediate carcinogens, but you're definitely still melting metal in your mouth, dude.
And you're doing it more. Like one of my best friends
You are definitely doing it more.
quit Newports to start smoking her Juul,
Yeah.
and truly, like she had it on her metal bed frame, like these. Like the water bottles that hamsters have in their cages. She just stuck it up her bed frame so she could at night wake up and
Yeah,
and then
dude.
go back to sleep. Like she went from like smoking, I don't know, a pack of Newports a day,
Yeah.
admittedly not great, to vaping 24/7. Like she would, my favorite memory is like she would vape in class, and she would just don't put the smoke out.
She
So
would
would,
zero
like-
it. She would zero it. Yeah.
and she would sit like this in like seminars and just be like, she vaped on planes. Like I can say at least when I
Yeah, you
for
fly
example,
Spirit, you
from
see that if you
here
fly
from
Spirit.
Germany, I don't smoke for 14 hours, and I don't smoke when I sleep. And I know some people who got on the vape train to never suffer those extents of time without consuming
Yeah, they
any kind
need
of
it.
nicotine again. So I'm like, no way,
Yeah,
no
they
way
need it.
vapes are better than cigarettes.
Yeah, and at least with cigarettes, man, like it builds some character. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
At least with cigarettes, bro, it builds some character where like, the smell is a little not great, so it's like you gotta like kind of own it a little bit
Amazing.
more. Vapes, man, they can hide that shit. They can be real sneaky with it. They got like blueberry, fucking raspberry, like Pop-Tart flavor fucking vapes, man. But with cigarettes, you gotta own that shit.
No,
You gotta own that smell. You gotta go outside.
that is an honest cancer.
Yeah. Like, you're not lying about it. It's like when okay, you've been in school for forever, so you'll respect this. When you go in for a test, I'm sure you saw this maybe growing up, where when I was in high school, there'd always be like some chick, especially in my like chemistry classes. Chemistry, even when I got into college, there's always that one student that like just won't admit that they don't know shit about what's on this test, and they keep trying to have the teacher come over and like re-explain them the question.
Yeah,
or
well-
like, can I get some help on this one? It's like, bitch, you just don't know it, bro. When I get in there, I know I'm getting a C-, and I'm gonna accept that. I'm not gonna. I know I don't know what this fucking answer is. I'm just taking it. With cigs, bro, you're just taking it. You're accepting it. You're not being a little bitch with these vapes and begging for the teacher to come help you.
I'm not living in the delusion that I'm not. I feel like a lot of vapors are living in the delusion that at least they are not smoking, where I'm like just
Yeah.
fully ready to embrace. No, I'm smoking.
Yeah.
This is not good, but baby, it's so good.
Yeah. It does look cooler too.
Oh, yeah.
I've never smoked. I've never smoked anything. Not
You
a
should
vape,
try.
cigarette. Yeah,
You
maybe.
should try.
Maybe we'll after this.
Like I said, I recommend I have a full pack on me. If
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
smoke a cigarette,
Oh
let's
shit.
go.
Okay, yeah. Just 25 years
I
out the
can
window.
show you the world.
Yeah. I forget what we were even getting into before the cigarette deal, but I guess
Oh
we were
God,
kind of
We went on so many.
we were kind of
tangents.
in. So okay, so what's it? Is it hard connecting with friends since you've been in school for basically your entire life now, getting a PhD? Is it hard to connect with your friends that haven't been in school as long? Is that difficult? Like, what do we not get? And I even got a college degree, so like we were a little bit closer. But maybe do you have any friends that like just started working?
I feel like if anything, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Where like we just went on a million tangents, and that was just on other stuff. I tend to fall into rabbit holes, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to talk about this, and I know it's not fun to talk about it. It's my personal like research thing that I fell into and no one else cares, but I get this like flipped.
Yeah.
Which way?
You flipped a switch.
Yeah.
Flip
The switch
switches.
flipped.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, everyone just wants to have fun right now, and you like are about to go off so hard. Like it is that part where because if you have a quotation mark a real life, and I'm not saying that like getting a PhD is not real life, but it is a weird.
Not everybody's doing it. There's a small percentage of people doing it.
Yes,
So it's different.
And you go about life different. You have a different like daily routines, all that stuff. You don't, when you have a normal life, you don't have time to think this hard and this detailed about certain matters.
Yeah.
Like if you think the way.
If you're stocking shelves at Target, you don't got time to think about all the intricacies
You gotta focus on what's in front of you. You gotta focus on your day. And like if you would think as detailed and like psychotically about your social interactions with people, the way that I have to think about certain texts or certain like theories, then you would be probably prescribed Prozac and would probably be diagnosed with anxiety, probably OCD.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But you don't. It's sometimes then hard to translate this. Like the way that I'm like now trying to talk to you and trying to explain this without falling into this rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's hard. I bet it's difficult too, like to turn that off, dude, because you're trying to like you're doing that all day every day. I mean, and obviously, like you make your own schedule, so maybe it's not all day every day, right? But it's like you're very focused on this thing. You have to be. It's a very specific style or type of thinking of thought process that you have to like engage in every day, and then to then go into like. I mean, you're hanging out with comics all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure contradicts that sometimes where it's like, let's just have fun. Like, let's roast each other. Let's make fun of each other. Let's do that. Where it's like maybe you going on, I don't know, flipping that switch essentially could.
But being with comics in a sense is also like, I don't know, a different side of the same problem. And that is why I love that balance. Like I need to hang out with my friends from school and like my roommate, like I met through school, and like I love talking for a long time about like our nerd stuff, but I also need to hang out with the comics, and I need to get away from the comics with these. Like I need that balance, because comics in the end are the same way, where you say one word and then immediately when 7 comics are on the table, you say one word, 7 sirens go off where everyone is trying to make the joke first and find the punchline and can't stop riffing. And if the person who was not a comic is in between, it's like, this was just a word. Can the conversation progress? And it's like, not until everyone has riffed every
squeezed
possible,
every bit of juice out of this.
Every juice out of this one bit, out of this one joke, and only then we can move on. Like where you can literally, someone says something and everyone's like, and like in it. So it is a similar breed of people just doing something else with that energy. It's the same energy, just differently like channeled. Yeah.
Along those same lines too, spending time with comedians. I mean, you host an open mic. That's what we're going to make sure we get you out in time to be able to do that. You host an open mic over at the Bremen Cafe. I'm curious, in hosting an open mic, how is it like when a new topical thing happened? Like I had Syed on a long time ago when the submarine happened, and he told me that it was like, that week, every open mic, the first 20 open micers had to get their submarine jokes up. Like, how is that being the host of an open mic? What are the differences?
Tiring.
I imagine, right? Because you're the news story, like a news story hits, and then you're hosting. Do you get to go first? I imagine at least when you're hosting there.
Depending, like I'm co-hosting with Reagan.
Yeah.
Right. So it depends on the week. One week I go first, the other week she goes first. So we always switch off in the middle.
Yeah.
But most of the time I don't like.
Are you topical?
I'm not
a
very topical
No.
comedian, so usually I don't have anything. I just know that I'm like getting tired very quickly when I hear 17 takes on the same thing and none of them is good.
Yeah.
And then they're also like heightened levels of annoyance. Because the submarine was one thing, but it's also like, do I really want to watch? And I did some topical jokes, for example, like when the Russia-Ukraine thing happened, but mostly also at mics to just be like, if you can't point at it on a map, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to hear anyone's joke if you cannot point it out on a map.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, where it becomes like the bigger conflicts, or like what is going on in the world right now, where I'm like, no one needs your take. I've seen you try to start a rocket from your ass.
Yeah.
No one needs your hot take on like geopolitical stuff, because
Yeah.
sometimes they are really funny. There are some comedians where I look forward to it, even where I know like, oh, this happened and I can't wait to figure out what they wrote about it.
Yeah.
Like there are these comics that like where I'm excited when they go topical, but then it's an open mic. There are a bunch of people who are maybe not even comics, who are just dudes in the audience who want to talk about this topic and then never talk again. And I'm just like,
It's good stuff.
it's rough.
I was gonna so what's something that you wish, as someone who hosts one of the best open mics in the city, that you wish maybe stand-up open micers would know or would drill into their head? What's something you wish that they would know?
I mean, for people
That are starting out, maybe
who's
it's,
starting out, it's harder than it looks,
Yeah.
and being the funniest one in your friend group doesn't mean you're funny.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have very unfunny friends.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
And it's two different things, right? Like hanging out with a group of friends, like I might be able to
And
crush
having
because it's all
inside jokes.
Yeah. But whereas like I gotta give you context now, take you into a joke and land several punchlines along the way.
There's an aspect of writing where you, in it, like just like technical writing, where you gotta understand how to get people on board, how to. My God, what is it with me with flipping the switch today? Flip the switch, have punchlines, have jokes. Like it's not. People just think, oh, I'm going to tell this funny story that crushed at that dinner party 2 days ago. I'm just going to go on stage and it's going to crush the same way. And I'm like, we weren't there.
Yeah.
We don't know your wife. We don't know why it's funny that she said that. What?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, just as a fan of comedy. There's a lot of times where people will do that similar thing, and there probably is a joke there. But if you're not a comedian, or if you haven't taken the time to write, like you just said, like I don't know why that's funny that your wife did that. But if you had made me understand why and maybe cut some of the fat out and done these other things, now that's a joke, where it's different than just like.
I write a lot of stuff as like funny thoughts or stuff that I write down on my phone, but I have so many notes that never made it into jokes just because I'm like, oh, this is funny. Can I figure out how to make this into a joke on stage? No, I cannot.
Yeah.
This is super funny to me. This is super funny to my friends, but and sometimes a year later I figure it out and it becomes a joke on stage. But like often these things rot away because I'm like, I know this is funny. I just don't know how to.
Yeah, musicians get that a
Put it
ton
in this
too.
form.
As
Yeah.
someone who does music, right? It's like I have a million demos, and if it hasn't come out, it probably won't. In a lot of cases, like it's like you'll work on a song, and if I get bored of it, or if I'm not in love with it the same way I was when I was starting it, a lot of times, unless you start mashing ideas together and whatnot, that's just gonna sit there. It's not gonna get finished unless I really, really enjoy it. And I imagine it's probably similar.
Do you do music open mics?
No, not typically, not usually.
Because I want to give it back. Like, what do you want people who are starting to do music? Oh no.
Oh,
What do
God.
you want, dudes? This is important for male comedians.
Okay.
What do you want dudes who are starting a podcast to understand about podcasts?
Oh yeah, that's good. Don't just do the whole. I get a lot of times where like even today when you message me like, is there anything I need to prepare? Like I had backup stuff for us to get to. We're not probably gonna get to it just because of time and whatnot. I do prep for the show. I hate, this is maybe not even for people starting a podcast. I guess it could be applied to them, but I get a lot of times where I get messages from like just random people. They're not in comedy. They don't do anything like online or that would like necessitate necessarily being on a podcast. Just be like, man, I want to be on your podcast. And I'm like, great, dude. What for? Like, what do you want to get into? Like, especially if I don't know them.
Yeah.
I can't quickly see what they do. And they're just like, dude, I'm down to talk about anything. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to talk about nothing because you're not going to be on the show because I'm not going to. Who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm nobody. Nobody should listen to this podcast, but I do at least try to get some funny people on to make me look a little bit more entertaining than I am. And I think maybe if you're going to start a podcast, just don't do it. Tag every single person that you know to follow this podcast and then record 2 episodes and give up. That's all I would say. Because nobody's podcast is necessary. Like you get that. I get that all the time.
Nobody's
where it's
podcast is necessary.
Literally, I mean, like you'll get that all the time where like it'll be someone will give you a joke on a podcast or someone will tell a story or someone will give you even like a fact. That's just like a basic fact. And it'll be we'll cut it up as a clip and it'll get some views and people will comment like, specifically they'll say like Jesus because they all think I look like Jesus for whatever. They'll say like Jesus isn't funny. Not everybody needs a podcast. And I'm like, that's true. Like only NPR really needs to
Also,
exist.
you look like Chet Kroger. You look like
People
young
say that
Chet
too. I know.
Kroger.
I
You
cut the
don't
hair.
look
I
like-
did chop it off. It used to be longer. But yeah, they don't pull it up. Don't fucking pull it. He's gonna pull it up. But yeah, dude. Yeah, people will like. No podcast matters. Nobody's opinion is important.
You
Pull it
pulled
up.
it up.
Pull it up. Pull it
You
up.
Pulled it up.
Pull it up so they can fucking see. Yeah. Look at that, bro.
Yeah.
The window song?
No, yeah, it's
Photograph?
Nickelback,
I
dude.
was about to say photograph.
Nickelback. They're
It's
playing.
Ni-
They're playing in
what?
my hometown this year at Country Thunder.
I.
That's my home. That's where I'm from, Twin Lakes.
Oh hell yeah!
never been to
hell
Country
yeah.
Thunder,
I
though.
looked it up. Reagan was on this a year ago. You said
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She is a huge Nickelback fan, so I was like this close to getting her like, the Country Thunder tickets
Really?
for like her birthday. Like, but those are so expensive. Where I was
Yeah.
like the only way I wanted to get Nickelback tickets, and it was just
Probably
not
sneak you guys in.
realizable. You can.
Probably. I know some
Oh.
people.
Oh.
We can do it. This guy for sure can do it. This guy for sure can do it. That's
We will get back to that.
We should.
When you say I'm gonna see people, they just gonna assume you're Chet Kroger and walk in with us.
I
That is gonna
probably
be the
could do
thing,
that. Yeah, I probably could do that. But yeah, I'd say if you want to say, I guess advice for podcasts, just don't. I mean, just try to have fun. Just try to do something that is enjoyable. Try to have fun with it because it's not good. No one's gonna listen to it anyways.
Yeah.
It's just keep doing it. I hate when people like I get so many people that ask me to be on their podcast, and it's like I look it up and like this is going to be their first episode. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist yet, and I'm like, dude, I love that you want to do a podcast. Can you do 10, and then I'll be
You're
on.
at 250 now, right? And you said that
258. We've done it every single week for
Hell
250.
yeah.
We're about to be 5 years in a row consecutively every week, in like 2 weeks. So
That's dope.
yeah, just keep doing it and post some clips. Maybe that'll help. But yeah, dude, I guess okay. I don't want to hold you up. It's like 7:20. I know you gotta do a
It's
list. here.
7:20 right now.
7:20 right now. So we need to get you out of here. Okay. Do you have any dates you can plug? I know you don't like posting your dates. Do you want to?
I'm at Sugar Maple on July.
Sugar Maple, because she's very far away
14th.
from the mic. Sugar Maple.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
I'm just fucking with you. Sugar
God.
Maple.
I
The
got it.
29th?
Over there. It's the 14th. I'm at Sugar Maple in Bayview with Dana Ehrman, Maddie Field. I think, God, they're gonna kill me. Is it Ryan Mason or Jay Taylor Mance? It's one of the two.
Someone who's really funny.
A lot of really, really funny people. A lot of my favorite comedians in Milwaukee. It's part of this like larger Joe Pera tribute that they're doing at
Yeah.
Sugar Maple. Joe Pera is gonna be the next day
Yeah.
in town. What else am I doing this month? I have this. That is the only thing I have on the top of my
Okay.
head without opening my calendar right now. But this
Yeah.
Friday, Sugar Maple. Come
Sugar
out.
Maple. Come do it, dude.
Buy
It'll be cool.
tickets.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you for being on. I'm going to let you start. If you want to start pulling up whatever you need to pull up, I'm just going to do my wrap up here.
Yes.
And then we'll get you set up. If you need Wi-Fi or anything, you let us know. We'll set you up so you can do your
Okay,
open mic
perfect.
stuff. But
I gotta make the list for Bremen Open Mic every Monday at Bremen Cafe in River West.
check it out,
Come
dude. It's a
around.
one of the
It's
best open
fun.
mics in the
It's
city.
brutal and it's fun.
I want to say thank you to everyone tuning in live today, as well as a big thank you to our patrons. If you're up on the screen right now, shout out to Mike for pulling them up. Shout out to all you guys. If you're interested in getting behind the scenes access to extra podcasts, extra videos, as well as a series where I break down how I mix, master, write, record every single one of my songs, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita. You can help support the channel for as little as $1. Plus, you get shouted out every week just like that. Shout out to all of them. One last time, that's patreon.com/Darren Rita. Also, quick shout out to Alpine House 2 for sponsoring another episode of the show. Big respect to them. I almost always mess up which side I'm supposed to be on for that, but respect to them. Appreciate them. Remember, that's Alpine House 2 on Instagram. Check them out. Get a little vacation going yourself. And this has been the 258th episode of the Detox Podcast.